The sky over New York turned red at first. People thought it was just another sunset. A strange one, maybe. Tourists took pictures. Kids pointed. Birds flew low, confused. Then the colors shifted. Bright red, deep scarlet. Then, ... a sharp hum. It came from above, not thunder, not planes. Something else. Something ... wrong. In Times Square, every screen blinked to static. Then a symbol 3 sharp black lines over a glowing white eye. A voice followed, cold, robotic. This is the Threxian Dominion. Earth is now under judgment. Do not resist. People froze. Then the sky opened, high above the clouds. Giant alien ships, uncloaked miles wide, shaped like spears and serpents. Their underbellies glowed with strange moving light. No warning shots, no demands, simply fired. Red beams cut across the city. Skyscrapers melted. Streets turned into rivers of fire. Cars exploded. Bodies flew. Screams mixed with thunder. New York was the first, but not the last. In seconds, similar beams struck Beijing, Paris, Nairobi, Sydney, and Sao Paulo. Every major city on Earth. Earth's defense satellites tried to respond. Lasers fired, missiles launched. But nothing worked. The alien shields flickered and laughed off the attacks. In Geneva, the UN Security Command watched in horror. "We're being exterminated," whispered General Hakim, voice shaking. "This isn't war. This is a purge." Beneath Colorado, in a secret mountain base, Colonel Mason stood in a dark room, staring at holographic projections of the attack. Every defense grid was red, every city in flames. "Casualties?" he asked. "Unknown, sir," said L.T. Harris. "Estimates are in the billions. We lost orbital control in 18 minutes. Mason closed his eyes. "They didn't come to conquer. They came to erase us," Sir Harris whispered. "We have one option left. Project Emberfang." Mason looked at her like she'd spoken a forbidden word. "That project was buried for a reason. It's not a weapon, it's a disaster." She didn't blink. "So is today." Mason turned back to the screen. "Okay." A child was crying in a burning street, alone, covered in ash. He spoke one word. "Activate." Deep. Beneath Mount Elbert, an alarm echoed through the rock. Emberfang ionized tread lights pulsed. Deep vaults unlocked for the first time in centuries. Old machines groaned. Biological fluids hissed in long-forgotten tanks. Inside a dark chamber, something stirred. A giant creature, larger than any aircraft, blinked. Its eyes glowed orange. Its scales were made of living metal. Its wings folded like blades. Steam poured from vents along its neck. Its heart, the size of a van, beat slowly. The creature growled, a low ancient sound. Its name was Vorax. Above, Earth, the Threxian commander, Zarnvel, stood aboard the high flame, watching the burning blue planet. "Primitive," he spat. "They call this place a cradle of life. It's a cradle of filth." His second officer, a six-eyed being named Drell, nodded. "Resistance is gone. Earth is broken. Begin orbital cleansing," Zarn ordered. "Torch the forests. Glass the oceans. Then we collect samples. The Council wants nothing living left." A beeping sound interrupted. "What is that?" Zarn asked. "Unclear," said Drell, frowning at the screen. "Seismic activity detected across multiple continents. Not natural." Awakening. Back in Colorado, the base shook, not from enemy fire. From something beneath. A huge vault door opened. Red mist poured out. Mason, in his exosuit, stepped forward. He raised his hand. Vorax looked at him, scanned his DNA then. The beast lowered its head. "Still loyal," Mason whispered. "Good." Vorax spread its wings.
Ow.
The air crackled with energy. Then, with a roar that shook the mountain, it launched. Over Wyoming, a small Threxian scout ship hovered near a canyon, scanning for survivors. The pilot detected a heat signature. "Organic life," it noted. "Size, unknown. Shape, irregular. 4. It could finish." Something slammed into the ship at Mach speed. The screen flashed white. A massive claw crushed the ship in midair. Its pieces rained down like metal snow. VORAX flew overhead, smoke trailing behind its wings, eyes locked on the sky. He wasn't the only one. In Antarctica, ice cracked. Sensors screamed. A second dragon stirred. On the ocean floor, sonar lit. Up. Shadows moved. Something ancient twisted beneath the waves. An old vault across Earth. Eyes opened. Claws twitched. Fire. Rumbled, back on the high flame. Zarnvel stared at the new readings. Creatures were appearing across Earth. Massive ones, shielded from scans. Moving fast. Explain this, he demanded. They are not human-made, said Drell, terrified. Or maybe they are. On the screen, a dragon tore through a Threxian gunship. Zarn snarled. This species hid monsters beneath their soil. Drell shook his head. No, they are the monsters. Washington, D.C. The White House was gone. But a small team of survivors watched the skies. They saw a glowing shadow fly past, huge, metallic, burning red. A child whispered, Is that, a dragon? His mother, bleeding but alive, stared up and nodded slowly. No, she said. Hours Vorax hovered above a ruined city. Threxian ships swarmed around him, firing plasma bolts. He opened his mouth. A sphere of orange energy grew in his throat. He roared, and the sky turned red again this time, with Threxian blood. Humanity was not done, not dead, not alone. They had dragons. The ice cracked again. Then again, not from above, from deep under the Antarctic surface. At the Threxian outpost near the southern pole, alarms rang across their frozen station. Red lights flashed. Crystalline panels blinked with strange seismic readings. No storm, no tectonic shift, just a low, rumbling pressure rising from below the glacier. Threxian Commander Varlik narrowed his 4 eyes and hissed. Explain this tremor. Science officer tapped on a floating screen, puzzled. No fault line detected, Commander. No magma. But something is moving. Alive. Varlik asked. A pause. Yes. Very large. Outside, the ice glowed faintly blue. Then it exploded. Minutes earlier. Miles beneath the South Pole, hidden under ancient ice layers. A vault door blinked with life for the first time in over 900 years. Systems long thought dead awoke. Project Emberfang. Subnode Omega-3 status. REBOOTING. Inside the chamber sat a creature larger than any known beast. Its skin was plated in black-blue armor, like frozen steel. Massive wings curled around its body like a shell. Its eyes were closed. But something in its heart, a heat core, began to pulse. Warming protocol. 12%, 29%, 65%. The creature's name was Carax, forged in Earth's final world war. Built from nanosteel, volcanic alloy, and something not quite metal, Carax was. A dragon of fury, born from fire, but buried in frost to sleep until Earth was in ruin. Now Earth was in ruin, and Carax heard the call above. The Isotrexian soldiers scrambled outside the outpost. Their scanners were useless. Something blocked their instruments, a cloud of static. They could barely see more than 20 meters into the icy wind, but they heard it. Crack. Groan. Boom. Something massive was pushing upward. Then the ground split open like a puzzle breaking apart. A shape rose from beneath, towering wide, humming with strange blue light. Threxian guns fired. Lasers struck its chest, sparking. No damage, no response. Then, the dragon opened its eyes. They burned with white-hot rage. Deep in Colorado, Colonel Mason watched a live feed of Antarctica on a cracked holoscreen. The camera drone was shaking. Ice swirled around. All I could see was the back of something huge. Wings stretched wide like mountains, with edges sharper than blades. Carax is awake, Mason whispered. Beside him, Dr. Myra Lane leaned forward, her eyes filled with wonder and fear. The volcanic variant. No wonder Antarctica's melting. They buried him here to cool him, Mason said, and now he's hot again. Lane nodded. Then the aliens are in for a lesson in Earth's ancient rage. Back at the outpost, Commander Varlik screamed, "Fire everything!" Threxian plasma cannons lit up the sky. Dozens of beams struck Karax's wings and body. They bounced off or melted against his heat armor. One beam reached the side of his face, and that was a mistake. Karax turned. He stared directly at the plasma battery. He opened his jaws. A hiss escaped like boiling lava. Then he breathed. It wasn't fire. It was worse. A stream of molten plasma, mixed with shards of superheated obsidian, roared from his mouth. The outpost vanished in a wave of red and black fire. Metal liquefied. The ground cracked open, swallowing. Buildings holed. The last thing Varlik saw was his own reflection in Karax's glowing eyes before his ship turned to dust. Later that night, in a bunker in South Africa, an old woman sat in the dark, rocking back and forth. Children huddled around her, wide-eyed, scared. "Tell us a story," one of them whispered. The woman looked out the cracked bunker window. She smiled softly. "You want a story?" she said. "I'll tell you what my grandmother told me when I was your age. It's about the beasts under the earth, sleeping monsters. Built by humans, but forgotten after peace came. They were too dangerous." The children listened, mouths open. "People said they weren't real," she said. "But I always believed, and now they've come back." "What are they?" the girl asked. The woman smiled, her eyes shining. "Dragons. But not from myths. Ours. Made by humans. Angry ones." Orbit, aboard the Threxian ship scourged to Langinal Tresh, watched the satellite feeds, lips curling in confusion. "What are these things?" He growled. "They fly. They burn. They crush fleets." An intelligence officer replied, "One in the north, one in the Andes, one underwater. We don't know how many remain." "And how did this species hide them?" The officer hesitated. "We believe the humans buried them long ago, as weapons too dangerous to keep alive." Tresh slammed a clawed hand onto the table, and now they've brought them back. The room fell silent. Outside, on the edge of Earth's atmosphere, sensors picked up another anomaly. A shape. Flying into orbit, it wasn't a ship. It was Vorax, the first dragon, had taken to space, and he was heading straight for the Scourge Talon, back on Earth. The ice melt Skarax soared above the melting glaciers, his wings leaving trails of heat that turned ice into vapor instantly. Threxian escape ships tried to flee. Some launched into orbit, others exploded in mid-air. Karax didn't chase all of them. He stopped and roared. The sound echoed across the continent, from the Andes, mountains to Siberia. Sensors heard the call. More vaults stirred. More dragons heard. And one, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, finally opened its eyes, under the Mariana Trench, glowing blue. I opened in total darkness. Massive fins stretched, and the water trembled. In low orbit, Vorax hovered before the Scourge Talon, ignoring the alien weapons aimed at him. Inside the ship, General Tresh gave the command. "Fire everything." Missiles, beams, plasma. The entire side of the ship exploded in weapons fire. The smoke cleared. Vorax was still there. His wings folded back. He dove. The last broadcast from the Scourge Talon was a scream. High above the Rocky Mountains, the Threxian scout ship scanned the cliffs. It was supposed to be a cleanup mission sweep, the Western Range, vaporize any survivors, and collect rare minerals. Earth's military had already collapsed in most regions. The resistance was weak, easy prey. But something was wrong here. The readings were off. Heat signatures flickered, faded, then returned stronger. Seismic waves rolled beneath the rock. Something was beating under the mountain. Threxian Commander Jelvik tapped his screen. "We are detecting movement beneath Mount Ashfall. Deep, not natural. Pulse rhythm, consistent with a heartbeat." "Heartbeat?" asked his pilot. "What?" The commander didn't answer. Because the mountain was moving. Meanwhile, below the surface far beneath Mount Ashfall, inside a vault surrounded by molten rock and reinforced steel, lay Zorith, the mountain heart. Unlike Vorax, Or Carax? Zorath was never meant to fly. He was built to endure, built to stand when nothing else could. His body was carved from compressed tectonic stone and encased in heavy armor lined with kinetic shock absorbers. His arms could level cities, his legs could crush tanks like bugs, but for centuries he had slept, his mind powered down his systems, in hibernation, until now. Vorax's roar had reached him, so had Carax's awakening. The signal was clear. Earth was under attack. Zorak's eyes lit up, glowing a deep golden orange. Gorant. His claws twitched. Project Emberfang. Core. Titan ONLE on the surface. 30 minutes later, Threxian patrol ships hovered above the mountain range. Laser drones buzzed around the cliffs. One drone approached a cave entrance. It scanned the rock. Then the cave blinked, a glowing orange. I opened behind the stone, before the drone could react. A massive stone hand burst from the mountain and grabbed it, crushing it like paper. The nearby ships pulled back too late. The entire side of the mountain collapsed, and Zorath rose from the dust. He was taller than any building in the region. His chest glowed like a burning furnace. His back cracked with every step as molten rock poured from vents along his spine. He stood still for a moment, like a statue. Then he charged in a civilian bunker below Colorado. Young boy sat in the dark. Holding a small stuffed dragon, his father, bleeding and coughing, whispered to him. "They came from the sky, son. They took everything. Your mom. Our home. ... The boy nodded, but kept staring at the ceiling, as the ground above them shook. His eyes lit up. "I hear something," the boy whispered. "Something big." The father tried to move. "What do you mean?" The boy clutched his dragon tighter. "He's coming." On the Threxian command ship, above General Zarn, Vel stared at the destruction reports. Another fleet destroyed, this time in the mountains. "What creature did this?" he asked. His war officer replied, voice shaky. "It's not a flyer. It walks. Its arms shattered 3 carriers. Its body took direct orbital strikes, no damage. It smashed a command base by falling on it." Zarn narrowed his eyes. "These are not wild beasts. These are weapons, built by humans." "But how did they make such things?" The officer whispered. Cern didn't answer, because even he didn't know, and that scared him. Back in the Rakiesarith pushed his hand through a fallen Threxian war tank and pulled out its core, then crushed it like a stone between his fingers. Threxian. Airships swarmed around him, firing plasma bolts. Zorath's shoulder armor opened. Dozens of tiny glowing orbs launched into the sky, heat-seeking magnetic bombs, exploded midair, taking the ships with them. From the base of his legs, shockwaves erupted. Ow! The ground cracked. A wave of energy rushed down the valley, flipping anything mechanical. Zorath roared. But it wasn't a sound. It was a signal. Far across the globe, Pacific Ocean, in the deep trench. The water began to swirl violently. A new signal had reached. The sea, the sleeping dragon beneath the ocean floor, stirred. His name was Valkyr, the Abyss Serpent. And now, it was his turn. Meanwhile, KN, Colorado, Base Colonel Mason watched his satellite footage displayed. Zorath, smashing through Threxian, Dropsis. Dr. Myra Lane stood beside him. "That's 3 dragons now," she said quietly. "One in the sky, one in the ice, one in the stone." Mason nodded. "Each one triggered by different levels of planetary threat." "They're not random," Lane added. "They were placed strategically. Defense layers, last lines. We didn't need them before. Now," Mason muttered, "we need them all." Suddenly, a red alert flashed across the command board. "Underwater anomaly detected," a voice said. Mason's head turned. Lane stepped closer. "Valkyr," she whispered. "The Leviathan is waking up." Over the Rockies' final Standurith reached a Threxian fusion cannon emplacement. It fired a burst of energy powerful enough to destroy a human city. Zorath raised his arm. His armor absorbed the blast. Steam hissed. The cannon began to charge again. Zoreth didn't wait. He jumped. The entire mountain trembled as he landed atop the cannon and drove his arm through it, ripping out its core. The Threxian survivors fled. Zoreth stood in the smoke alone, victorious. In a Threxian emergency broadcast, one soldier screamed into the camera, "They aren't just creatures. They are guardians. Earth-hatched monsters." The signal cut out deep in the ocean. Something massive twisted. The water boiled. A glowing fin broke the surface of the sea longer than a skyscraper. Eyes opened in the deep. Valkyr had awakened. Earth's final line was rising, and the stars would soon burn. The ocean should have been quiet. Something was rising. At 3:17 Earth Standard Time, every Threxian vessel patrolling the Pacific Triangle went offline. Ships vanished. Signals cut. No explosions, no wreckage, just silence. Then came the vibration. Underwater sensors off the coast of Japan shook. On fishing boats, compasses spun wildly. Seawater rose, unnaturally warm. The waves formed spirals. Seagulls screamed and fled the surface, and in the heart of the Mariana Trench, the oldest dragon stirred 12 hours earlier, Threxian deep sea. Lab 14 beneath the ocean floor, Threxian scientists monitored Earth's tectonic heat zones. Their research was simple. Harvest energy. Destroy oceanic human bases. Mine the seafloor. But one area was Loctaxis, denied by unknown interference. Subsector V9 is shielded by human technology, a technician reported. Outdated, ... but still active. Commander Relf frowned. Then destroy it. Detonate a drill charge. I want that trench open. They dropped a seismic bomb. The ocean floor shook. The screen lit up with something unexpected. Warning. Deep cage breach. Project Emberfang Level 7 detected initiating core awake sequence. Valkar, the Abyss Serpentrelth, didn't understand. Emberfang. And the water went black, and something began rising. Near Guam, Earth's surface ship, sole survivor Captain Lana, Rias watched the sonar monitor with narrowed eyes. We've got something deep, huge, bigger than a cruiser. Moving at 600 knots? No whale moves like that. Her engineer turned pale. Ma'am, I think it's coming up. The ship's hull trembled. Then the water exploded. A body the size of a mountain surged from the sea, draped in metal scales and volcanic stone. Valkyr's form twisted like a serpent, with dozens of glowing fins and a face filled with deep, ancient eyes. Water flowed off his back like rivers. The sky turned dark. Reyes barely whispered, "That's no creature. That's a weapon." Inside the Threxian command ship, Cinderthroat Orbit General Zarn Vel stared at the new feed. This was the fourth dragon. Air, ice, stone, and now, see, he muttered. His war advisor trembled. They have one more we cannot. Control this planet, Zarn turned, voice low. Control? We never had it. We poked a world sleeping with knives. Now it has teeth. They watched as Valkyr's tail, wider than a ship, was flung sideways and sliced through a Threxian battleship like it was paper. The feed cut to static below the waves. 3,000 meters deep, Valkyr dove again, his sensors lit with heat. 3 Threxian. Mining rigs? He activated his internal plasma veins. His underbelly glowed. The rigs launched missiles. Tiny buzzing flies. Valkar didn't dodge. He absorbed them. Then from his mouth came a sonic pulse like a whale song, but sharper. Water ripped. The rigs imploded under pressure. Valkar didn't roar like Karax. He hummed a deep, ancient sound that vibrated ships to pieces. Elsewhere in the Andes, mountains deep inside another vault, called. A dragon opened its eyes. Slender. Silent. Covered in reflective, light-shifting armor. She was the spy. Her name. Silith. The mirage she watched. The ocean awakening from a satellite feed, she did not roar. She smiled. Back on land, Dr. Mira Lane's secret archive DR. Mira Lane opened a black binder labeled Project Emberfang Final Page. She read aloud. When for awaken, the fifth will see. The Watcher becomes the flame, and Earth itself will rise. Colonel Mason, arms crossed, asked, What does that mean? She turned the page. An image showed a dragon with wings made of fire and light. No one ever built the fifth, she said. It built itself. Pacific Ocean, final battle of the deep Vulcar rose again. It's time with speed. Above him floated the last Threxian ocean dominator, a war fortress bristling with cannons, mines, and disruptor fields. It fired everything. Valkar vanished into the waves. Silence then, directly under the ship. A glow. Too late, he launched. He tore through the underbelly, broke the ship in two, and dove again, dragging half of it with him. The sea burned red, in a hidden refuge. A human boy watches a young boy named Kyo, sat in a cave above the coast, staring at the glowing sky. His grandmother, voice trembling, whispered, "He's the one your father told you about, the Leviathan. He sleeps under the sea until the world bleeds." Kyo nodded slowly, and now she looked to the horizon. Now they bleed. A shadow in the sun, far above Earth, in orbit behind the moon. Something stirred. A shape. Alien, not mechanical, a being of light and flame. The fifth dragon, not built, not buried, born. It opened its wings and entered the sun. Because the final weapon of Earth wasn't steel or fire. It was a dragon made of solar wrath. The sun flared, not like a normal solar flare. This one was alive, high above Earth, hidden just behind the moon's orbit. The Threxians had parked their command dreadnought, the Warlance, a floating city of firepower and shields, and it shook. Inside, alarms screamed, systems blinked. Something was coming through the sun. General Zarn Vel rushed to the war deck. "What is this?" he barked. His science officer stuttered. "Sir, something just opened inside the star. It's like a tunnel, not natural. And it sits growing. On the main screen, the surface of the sun twisted like liquid glass. Then, a shape emerged. In Earth's orbit, Threxian Outpost 7 technician Grell tapped his monitor. No, it's not a ship. It's not a storm. He stopped, breathing, because out of the blazing corona, with wings of plasma and eyes of white fire, came the fifth dragon. No stone, no steel, only light and wrath. Its name was Solraeth. It was never built, never designed in any lab. It was born inside the star, when humanity first split the atom. When the first dragon awoke, when Earth screamed into the void, Solraeth heard it. Drifted within the sun for decades, growing, feeding, becoming something the universe had never seen, and now it was ready. Earth's hidden control room, Antarctica dear. Mira Lane dropped her coffee. Colonel, Mason stared at the satellite feed. They watched as a creature of light pierced through the upper atmosphere, trailing waves of molten flame behind it. Solraeth had arrived. Lane whispered. The fifth wasn't locked in a vault like the others, Mason said, because no vault could hold the sun. In orbit, Threxian Chaosolith didn't just burn. He melted space around him. The Threxian dreadnoughts fired reflexively plasma torpedoes, disruptor missiles, black hole cannons. None of it mattered. Solraeth didn't dodge. He absorbed the energy, and then screamed. Not a sound, but a wave of solar fury. 10 ships vaporized in seconds. 2 more lost power. 1 turned and fled and burned. Up as Solraeth passed over it. He broke their fleet in minutes. Back on Earth, a school child points up. In a refugee camp in South Africa, a child stepped outside his tent. He saw a streak of gold across the sky. "Papa," he said softly, "is that the sun falling?" His father didn't answer. He was crying, but not in fear. He knew what that dragon meant. Earth was not done. Threxian High Council, Emergency Transmission, Vel, sent a last message to the Council. These are not just dragons. They are not beasts. They are not rogue AI. They are Earth's immune system. He paused, then added, and we are the virus. Solraeth over North America, the fifth dragon dipped into the clouds above the Rockies below. Zoreth looked up, Karak's sword beside. Him Vorax roared from the east. They felt Solreth's presence, not in their minds. In their cores, he wasn't just fire, he was the heart of everything they were made from. Solreth spread his wings. The skies turned red and gold. Elsewhere, Silith watches from a hidden chamber under the Andes. Silith the Mirage dragon watched. The flames light up the sky. She smiled faintly. "I was the eye," she whispered. "He is the judgment." She vanished. Dr. Lane's revelation in the Earth's control center. Dr. Lane opened a final encrypted file. It was dated 209 years ago. If Earth is ever invaded, they breach the skies, the oceans, the stone, and the cold, then the fifth will rise. He will not answer a signal. He will answer pain. Colonel Mason stared. "So he's like an emergency signal." Lane nodded. "No, he is the counterattack." In the sky, last stand, the remaining Threxian war fleet gathered. Above the Atlantic, dozens of ships, all their remaining weapons. One final stand. Solreth paused in the sky. Then he folded in on himself, glowing brighter until he became a small sphere of searing white light, and then he detonated, not like a bomb, like a sun flare. All ships turned. To ash, clouds ripped apart. Oceans boiled for seconds before stabilizing. Birds fell from the sky, and when the light faded, Solreth was still there, hovering, untouched, unmoved, unmatched. The 5 dragons gathered in Earth's upper atmosphere: Vorax the sky, Terror Carax, the ice sentinel, Zoreth, the mountain, Valkar, the abyss, Solreth, the sunborn. Flame. 5 weapons. 5 guardians. They turned their eyes not just to the stars, but to where the next threat would come from. Because Earth was done playing defense. It was time for retribution. They watched Earth's skies turn gold. They watched their fleets burn. And yet, they chose arrogance over survival. The Galactic Unity Council was the oldest known alliance in the stars. 93 species, 12 empires, all claiming to keep peace. They were not warriors. They were kings. And in their great hall, orbiting the dead world of Valtir, they gathered still. Wrapped in pride, even as Earth's 5 dragons took the skies, the Council's final mistake, they thought Earth would still beg for mercy. Opening scene Council. Chamber of stars inside the massive dome of crystal and energy. The ruling species gathered, the insectoid Vren, the gas dwellers of Joro, the psychic Ellerich species, had ruled for thousands of years. Floating at the center was the High Arbiter Thalva, becoming a translucent being of pure mind light. He addressed the chamber. Earth's dragons are anomalies, glorified weapons. This rebellion will be crushed like all others. Deploy Phase 3 judgment fleets. A few voices raised concern. Ambassador Queltha of the Drealix hesitated. But Arbiter. 5 dragons destroyed the largest Threxian armada in less than an hour. Thalva hissed. Then we send 10 armadas. Murmurs rose, some afraid, some proud. None truly understood, until the screen lit up, and a message from Earth played. The warning: a single figure appeared. Not a soldier, not a dragon. It was Dr. Mira. Lane standing in front of Earth's sun, her voice was calm. To the Galactic Council, we have awoken what was never meant to rise. You were warned. You were told to leave Earth. You struck us first. We strike last. She stepped aside, and behind her, the 5 dragons appeared in formation, wings glowing, eyes burning. The screen went black. Silence in the chamber. For the first time in centuries, the Council feared. In orbit, over Council, planet Veil tire-marked ships appeared, black, smooth. Fast, not built by human hands, but guided by human minds. Inside, AI systems once buried on Mars had awakened. They'd fused with Dragon Tech and launched themselves without permission. Their mission? Destroy the Council. Meanwhile, on Earth DR, Lane looked at the world map. The dragons had stopped moving. They hovered. Waiting? Colonel Mason asked. Why aren't they helping us rebuild? They're not tools, she answered. They're watching, judging. Earth has to earn them again. But who controls them? No one, Lane whispered. That's the point. Suddenly, alarms rang. A long-range signal had been intercepted. The Galactic Council was launching world burners, weapons that could boil oceans from orbit. Humanity had ours. Solrith's response far above. The fifth dragon turned his head toward the stars. Without a sound, he vanished, folding space around him. 3 seconds later, he reappeared beside the first world burner. He didn't attack. He landed on top of it. Then, with claws of fire, he peeled. It opened like fruit, one by one. He melted every weapon inside. Then he left the shell drifting empty, silent. A message. Back to the council. Panic. Denial screaming across species. They melted our fleets. They stopped the world burners. They are sentient weapons. How did humans build this? They didn't, said the Draelix ambassador, now pale and silent. Earth didn't build them. Earth is them. The Arbiter floated upward. Then we burned the planet itself. The Council's final move, Project Exotorch. The Council activated their forbidden weapon, the Exotorch, a mobile star engine designed to drag solar fire across a planet's surface. Only one had ever been used in galactic history. Now they aimed. It at Earth launch in 10 hours. Target, Pacific Hemisphere. Result, extinctional level destruction. The Mirage Dragon strikes, but the Council forgot something. The fifth dragon burned stars. But the fourth moved unseen. Silith, the Mirage, is already inside their Exotorch facility. Invisible, silent, deadly. She walked among alien guards like a shadow. She touched the heart of the weapon, and then she mirrored it, splitting the core. Into itself, when the launch countdown hit 0, the Exotorch activated. But instead of firing at Earth, it turned backward and exploded. Solreth speaks for the first time in history. One of Earth's dragons spoke, not with words, with fire across the stars and symbols written in solar flares. Translated by Earth's AI, you struck humanity once, you struck without mercy. Now hear this, the dragons of Earth are not defense. We are memory. We are vengeance. And we remember everything. They thought Earth was a battleground. But now Earth held the gavel. And judgment was coming. Opening scene, Council Planet Valtir. Just after the Exotorch explosion, the ground trembled. The skies above the Council turned dark. Not from clouds, not from nightfall, from wings. 5 shapes descended, glowing, massive, unstoppable. The dragons had come. Solreth's golden fire lit up the air like a second sun. Karax floated behind him with icy wind coiling around her armor. Zoroth's stone hide glowed with lava veins. Valkyr circled from above, his ocean mist flooding entire districts in Silith. She walked unseen. Every city on Valtir looked up, and for the first time in thousands of years. The Council begged inside the Council Dome, panic and collapse, evacuate. They're here. All 5. We must surrender. Arbiter Thalva rose from his chamber, trembling. They cannot judge us. They are machines, programs. Earth lies at the edge of civilization. They have no right. But then the chamber, dimmed. Not by power, lost by presence. A glowing sigil formed in the air. An eye made of fire, and a voice spoke through every speaker, every neural link, and every mind. You claimed the stars. You punished Earth for refusing your rule. Now, Earth returns the favor. You struck first. You'll answer last. Flashback, Mira Lane's last journal entry before the dragons were awakened. Dr. Mira Lane wrote a final entry. The dragons are not just weapons, they are decisions. Each one holds a piece of Earth's past. Our skies, our seas, our cold, our fire, and our silence. They only awaken when all paths to peace are broken. Colonel Mason had asked her once, what happens when they finish defending Earth? She had replied, then they judge the rest. The judgment begins above Valtir. Solreth opened his wings. A beam of golden light shot down into the Council's ancient tower. It didn't burn, it revealed, suddenly. All species saw what their leaders had hidden. 1,000 peaceful colonies destroyed by order of the Council. Planetary purges of non-compliant species. Silent invasions carried out by observer fleets. Earth's own exile forged by a secret vote and false charges. All of it displayed in the sky, broadcast across every system. Truth, fire, and shame, Zoroth. Lands the ground shattered beneath his feet. Stone and dust flew. He stepped toward the High Arbiter's fortress. The guards fired. Nothing touched him. He didn't speak. He simply looked. The fortress cracked, then collapsed. Zoroth turned and left the rubble behind. Bothered, he wasn't. There for war, he was there for justice. In the shadows, Silith executes the hidden vote elsewhere in the palace. Silith found the secret vault of the Inner Council. Inside, 7 species held one last vote, one last plan to use a mind control. Signal against Earth. Silith didn't speak. She blinked once. They vanished. No screams. No trace. Just a whisper of wind. Karax freezes the escape port ships, launched from every pad. Thousands of elites tried to flee. Karax swept her wings once. The air flash dash froze. The ship stopped mid-flight, covered in rime, frozen in time-like statues. She looked at them, then turned her back. Meanwhile, on Earth, the people watched from London to Nairobi. From Tokyo to the ruined ruins of Los Angeles, people stared at the skies. The 5 dragons were not on Earth anymore. They were carrying Earth's voice. The people were no longer helpless. They were not prey. They were watching the punishment of those who thought they ruled the stars. For once, Earth wasn't pleading to join a galactic table. Earth was the table now, inside the final. Council Chamber Slaith floated before the last counselors. He did not burn them. He showed them. He opened their minds to every scream from Earth they ignored, to every child buried in ash, to every city turned red by Threxian fire. Then he asked them a question, telepathically. Would you do it again? Most cried. Some collapsed, one said yes. That one turned to dust. The vote, humanity's choice back. On Earth, a message was sent to all humans. One simple question. The Galactic Council is broken. You have seen what they are. Do we destroy them or force them to face what they've done? It was the first unified vote in human history. And the answer came fast. No mercy, no massacre. Let them live. With the truth, Solreth delivers the sentence. You will not be erased, he told the remaining council. You will be watched. Every lie you speak, every secret you keep, we will see. And if you ever strike another world the way you struck Earth, his wings flared, we will return. The 5 dragons leave. Valturthi didn't roar. They didn't destroy cities. They rose slowly. Through smoke and broken clouds, one by one, they flew outward back toward Earth, and everywhere across the galaxy, species whispered a new law: strike humanity once and face the wrath of the dragons. They thought they had broken Earth, but Earth rose. Not alone, not unarmed. Behind it, 5 shadows waited. Opening scene 2 years after the Council's fall, the Earth had scars. Cities still lay in ruins. Oceans were still recovering. Skies were calmer, but filled with dust trails from the old war. But something had changed. Children walked through the streets of rebuilt towns in Africa, Asia, and South America. People planted crops on the cracked soils of North America. Drones helped clean up radiation in Europe, and every human knew one thing: the dragons were still watching. The dragons had not left Earth. They had become part of it. Zora slept beneath the Andes, curled around ancient magma. Karax floated in the Arctic skies, hidden within the storm clouds. Velker moved beneath the Pacific trenches, silent and unseen. Silith appeared only in reflections and mist, and Solrethi circled the upper atmosphere once every day, leaving a golden trail in the sky. No longer weapons. Now, they were guardians. Seen Earth Council of Unity for the first time in human history. Earth had no nations, only cities and zones. The Earth Council met in what remained of Nairobi. No military uniforms, no flags, Just survivors, scientists, and builders. Colonel Mason was now Earth's representative to the galaxy. Dr. Mira Lane, now older, sat beside him, quiet but always thinking. They reviewed the latest message. Galactic Sector 14 requests Earth's help. Slave race overthrew their masters and now seeks protection. They want Earth's dragons. Mason sighed. Lane answered softly, "We can't send the dragons. That's not what they're for." Mason nodded. "But we can send something else." Seen the dragons gift in a deep vault below Alaska. Engineers gathered around a black pod. Inside were blueprints, not for another dragon, but for the first human-built Protector-class cruiser based on dragon design, faster than any alien. Ship, powered by core fire, armed with memory-based targeting. But the most powerful part would carry Earth's message. Mercy comes first. But fire follows lies. Seeing the return to the stars 5. Cruisers launched from Earth, each named after one of the dragons. Solreth, Karax, Zoreth, Silith, Valcarano. Weapons raised, no fleets behind them, just one purpose: to stand with the innocent. To warn the violent. To remind the stars that Earth remembers. Final conflict, a test of the new Irin orbit around the world of Veltharn. A battle raged. An old empire had returned to enslave a peaceful race. The Earth cruisers arrived, and the invaders laughed. No dragons this time. They mocked. Solreth class opened a channel. Mira Lane's voice echoed across the field. "No dragons today, just humans." That's all it ever took. Then came the light, no violence. No bloodbath. The cruisers dropped truth. Bombs records of what happened to the Threxians in the Galactic Council. The invaders fled before the first. Plasma cannon even charged. Sometimes fear is louder than fire. Seen Zoroth wakes briefly beneath. The Andes, the mountains rumbled. Zoroth opened one eye. He felt the world shift. Felt humans carry the fire for themselves. He closed his eye again and went back to sleep. Final. Earth broadcast to the galaxy. The screen flickered on across thousands of systems. A simple message played. Dr. Mira Lane, standing under Earth's clear sky. We are not conquerors. We are not victims. We are what you made us. What your fear created. You struck us once, he answered. Now we rise with peace in one hand and fire in the other. Behind her, the golden trail of Solreth burned. Across the sky, closing words narration over Earth's night sky, they thought humanity would break. But humans adapt. They fall, but they remember. They bleed, but they build. And when pushed too far, they create legends. Dragons of sky, dragons of stone, dragons of sea, dragons of shadow. And one born in the heart of the sun. 5 shadows now follow Earth through. The stars, not to destroy, but to remind. Strike humanity once. The galaxy will never forget what follows.